Hello everyone, welcome to free crash course for competitive exams held by VIRAT Hindustan Sangham in association with Manifest IAS Bengaluru. This program is inspired by Dr. Subramanian Swamy, MP, Rajya Sabha and convened by Ravishankar sir, State Education Convener for VHS Karnataka branch. So I am the chief mentor of your program. So we have dealt with the four major topics and negotiating the environmental part. So the chief source I've told you, it is either Shankar IAS or PMF IAS environment book. So you can watch this program online on the YouTube channel of VIRAT Hindustan Sangham. We have provided the link here. Also, for any further queries, mentoring, guidance, you can join our Telegram channel, VHS Education Forum, and stay in touch with us, right? So yesterday, in the last class, we discussed about the various climate conferences since 1995. So 1995 is the first one where the COP1 takes place in Germany, right? Afterwards, the recent COP is COP26, that is in Glasgow. So we have discussed the major incidents that has transpired throughout all this conferences, climate conferences, the major ones being the Paris one, the Bali one, Bali Climate Summit, and the Warsaw one, right? And also the Marrakesh one, that is in 2016. So these are the major climate conferences, and the concepts also have discussed: the technology transfer, financial transfer, as well as the adaptation fund and various other things. So these are the basic things you should remember. They might ask, when was the adaptation fund started, or what was the outcome of the Bali summit? So I've told you everything regarding this. So today I'm going to talk about the various finance mechanisms. So in order to curb the climate change, we need what? We need money and technology. So money, there are various funds. So various funds I'm going to discuss today, major funds. You need to just know that what is this fund, which organization is managing this fund, and what is the goal of this fund, and when was this fund started. So these are the basic information you should know about various funds I'm going to tell you, and also certain initiatives I'm going to discuss today, right? So first let us start with the special climate change funds. First one is a special fund, climate change fund. So this was started in 2001. This fund came, and it is used for financing adaptation and technology, right? So this who manages this fund, special climate change fund? It is managed by Global Environmental Facility. So global environmental facility I'm going to discuss. So that is with respect to special climate change fund 2001 global environmental facility, right? So next we have, with respect to finance, there are three modules. The first module is the national communications module. So you communicate your national achievements to the international organizations. They are going to release the fund. That is the national communications module. Then you have the second module, that is fast start finance. When was this fast start finance started? So I told you it is a fund of $30 billion given by the developed countries, fast start finance. So it was started during 2009 Copenhagen summit. I told you about Copenhagen summit. Then they agreed for this fast start finance. So what is fast start finance? To quick start the process towards greenhouse gas reduction, quick starting the process. That is about the fast start finance from developed countries to developing countries. That is the second module. And third module is the funds managed by the GEF, Global Environmental Facility. It doesn't manage only the Special Climate Change Fund, also it manages some other funds. That forms the third module of the financing mechanism. So just know these basic things. Then we are going to continue with the funding mechanisms. Before that, I am going to discuss certain initiatives with respect to the climate change. So the first initiative, RED and RED Plus, very important. So these has been asked in multiple competitive exams over the year. So you just remember, whenever they ask about, so I'm writing red in green color. So red and red plus. So whenever there is this word red, means please understand it is about deforestation and afforestation. stopping the deforestation and increasing the afforestation and reforestation. So red anta bandre, please remember it is about the forests, right? So what is this? So the full form is reducing emissions from REDD, full form reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. That is the full form of the word RED. So they provide incentives the developing countries to reduce deforestation. Developing countries, they are going to give money, technology and various things to reduce the deforestation. So RED plus, what is the difference between RED and RED plus? And the RED talks only about deforestation, whereas RED plus talks about what? Afforestation, sustainable forestation and conservation and increasing the carbon sink, forest carbon sink, all these things. So RED plus is a higher version. It talks about various important aspects with respect to climate change. So RED plus also they give incentives for building quality forest cover. So increase the forest cover, they are going to give you money. Who gives the money? The international organizations, right? So they focus on reducing the carbon emissions and sequestering the carbon. Also, not only that, the RED plus focuses on livelihood and work. So from the forest, by afforestation, if you are increasing afforestation, you need what? Human resource. So many humans will be provided work. So RED plus focuses on afforestation also. So what is India's benefit from the RED plus? Is India going to benefit from the RED plus? Yes, we definitely are going to benefit from the RED plus. So see, we are one is we have this Campa fund for reforestation. Their RED can be augmented. That is one thing. And also this RED plus can be used for sequestering carbon within India. So the emissions can be sequestered within India. And also this RED plus helps in providing job opportunity for the tribal people within the India with respect to afforestation. That is also there. And also this with respect to RED plus, it aims to sequester 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide. So that is in line with the Panchamrita of COP26, 1 billion ton of carbon dioxide. So RED plus is very, very important for India, right? So this actually, this RED plus, India had a separate plan with respect to RED plus. This plan was accepted by the conference of what is this plan, Andre? They plan to augment the RED plus with our local initiative. What is our local initiative? The Green India Mission. Green India Mission under National Action Plan on Climate Change. And so RED plus, that is afforestation, was integrated with the Green India Mission, right? So what are India's initiatives related to RED plus? What has India done with respect to RED plus, Andre? So we are submitting data with respect to afforestation and deforestation to whom? To UNFCCC, and also we have a technical group to monitor the afforestation and deforestation. We have constituted a group, right? So India is also giving funding, and also we have a national RED plus coordinating agency. With respect to RED plus, we have a separate agency. That is, with respect to forestation, we have a separate agency. Also, India has, in 2012, India hosted what? The convention on COP of the Convention on Biological Diversity. So similar to the UNFCCC, we have another convention on Biological Diversity. Adrudu conference na India hosted in 2012. 2020 or 2019, we hosted the COP of CMS, Convention on Migratory Species, in Gujarat. Very important, recent news, right? Apart from that, what we have done, as I told yesterday, we have a India's network for climate change assessment. That network is also there in India. India's network for climate change assessment. So it is a network of institutions and organizations which monitor the climate change. So that is also there with respect to RED plus, right? So this is all about the RED plus and India, and next we are going to move towards the Global Environmental Facility, GEF. So what is Global Environmental Facility? So this facility was started, it forms part of the UNFCCC. Article 11 of UNFCCC speaks about the Global Environmental Facility, right? So this is a financial mechanism of the UNFCCC. You know that there is a convention. So convention needs what? Money. Who manages the money? The money is managed by Global Environmental Facility with respect to the UNFCCC. So GEF is the financial mechanism of UNFCCC. Please remember that, right? So they focus on financing. So this GEF, when was it established? This was established in 1991 by World Bank. World Bank is the trustee for this organization, GEF. So World Bank is a trustee, so it coordinates with UNDP and UNEP, United Nations Development Program, and United Nations Environment Program for managing the funds with respect to climate change, right? UNFCCC climate change. So this manages this fund. So what are the focal areas of this GF? Andre, it gives funding for increasing biodiversity, reducing climate change. It gives protecting the international waters, right? And reducing the land degradation. So basically all environmental initiatives, this fund, that is the Green Global Environment Fund, which was started in 1991, which is a chief finance mechanism of UNFCCC, gives the funding. Please remember this. It is GEF is very, very important, right? So next, so this is all about the GEF. Next, we are going to talk about the climate smart agriculture. What is climate smart agriculture? So agriculture which is adapted to climate change, right? Sustainable agriculture, that is climate smart agriculture. So agriculture which doesn't get affected by climate change, or climate change agriculture will remain the same. That is climate smart agriculture. Going a step ahead, it taps the climate change and gives more yields. That can also be said. So what is climate smart agriculture? See, agriculture actually produces 14% of the greenhouse gases, right? Agriculture is responsible for greenhouse gases. So this, if we have to reduce the climate change, we have to target the agriculture sector. So first we have to start the reduction from the agriculture sector. So instead of agriculture being an emitter of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases, or methane is being emitted by the agriculture, right? So instead of that, what we can do is we can use the agriculture to sequester the carbon, and save the carbon dioxide. See, the carbon capture and sequestration. So we can use agriculture to sequester the carbon, right? So how it can be done? So this one is by using technology. So we can use new varieties of plants which can actually grow also, but doesn't emit the greenhouse gases, rather capture the greenhouse gases. That kind of scientific research we have to do, right? So this climate smart agriculturally, there are three concepts. One is this climate smart agriculture gives higher yields. One is the product output will be more. That is the first thing. Then also second concept is it captures the carbon. Carbon will be captured, right? So carbon capture will take place. And also a third thing is it is part of the climate change mitigation. Andre, it will reduce the climate change. So this is called as triple win. Triple win andre higher yield, increasing the fertility of the soil, reducing the climate change, right? So all these things. So climate smart agriculture is going to have a triple win in all these sectors, right? So it is a win-win situation. So what can be done to implement climate smart agriculture? Andre, one is increase the organic content of the soil. Organic content and the organic manure, right? Natural manure should be increased. Then promoting soil carbon capture. Capturing the carbon in soil can also be a method for climate smart agriculture. Then go for landscape approach. Landscape approach rather than focusing on small area, focus on the entire area. How this entire area is being irrigated. What is the rainfall pattern? What is the temperature? That can be used under climate smart agriculture, and use climate resilient crops. Andre crops which are not affected by climate change. That kind of crops can be implemented. So this millets, ragi and all, actually they don't get affected by less rainfall or anything. Even in less rainfall, this ragi is going to grow. That kind of crops we can grow. Also, we can make other crops also climate resilient by biotechnology research. So so we have Krishi Vignan Kendras. Also we have University of Agricultural Sciences. We have it one in Bangalore, University of Agricultural Sciences. So those can conduct the research. So that is the lab to laboratory to land. So you carry out the research and implement it the land, right? So with respect to climate smart agriculture, one example I am going to give you. In China, there is one region called Loess Plateau. Loess Plateau, which was infertile. So China did lot of work in this Loess Plateau, because of which today it is a agriculturally beaming part of China. So similarly, even our green revolution areas, which were not giving more output, today they are the bread basket of India, right? Which is the bread basket of America, of the world. There is one city or one nation called as bread basket. So please research which is the bread basket of the world, right? So this is about climate smart agriculture. Just know the concepts. Then I'm going to talk about very important concept, IPCC. IPCC. What is IPCC? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So our one person from India, the chief of theory, R.K. Pachuri. So he was a head of IPCC for some years, right? R.K. Pachuri. So he passed away some 2 years back, I think. So this, when was IPCC started? It was started in 1988. IPCC starting year is very important, and it was started by two organizations, UNEP and World Meteorological Organization, United Nations Environment Program, and World Meteorological Organization starts this in 1988, right? So what is this all about? They give scientific opinion about climate change. That is the work of the IPCC, right? So it has got a secretariat. Where is the secretariat of IPCC? It is at Geneva. Geneva is the IPCC secretariat. So actually it is hosted by World Meteorological Organization, right? So it is open to all members of United Nations. Totally 195 members are there. How many members are there in UN now? Is it 196? 198 number of UN members. Okay, it is 193, showing as 193. Let me check. They're saying it is 193. Okay. Google might be wrong as well. Okay, so all members of United Nations are members of this IPCC, right? So what do? They do a comprehensive review of the climate change. Andre climate change they are going to monitor, and they provide knowledge about climate change. So why climate change is happening, what is the reason behind it, how it can be tackled, how much it should be tackled, who all should be included in this. Everything about everything, scientific opinion is given by IPCC. That is the work of the IPCC. But IPCC does not conduct any research, but it is a network of scientists of the world, right? So it is a voluntary, scientists from all across the world, they contribute to this IPCC on a voluntary basis, right? So this IPCC actually gives many reports, many scientific reports. These reports are called as what? They are called as assessment reports. IPCC reports are called as assessment reports, right? So these governments across the world participate in, they take the opinion of this assessment report. Every government respects the assessment report of the IPCC, right? So they IPCC assessment report, they are produced, given at regular intervals, right? Every few years, these IPCC reports are given. So they are produced in several volumes, right? Many volumes come. So all these volumes focus on different issues. How climate change is affecting agriculture, how it is affecting the forest, how it is affecting the sea level rise, how it is affecting the women, right? So various things it is going to give, right? So apart from that, there is one more report by IPCC called as synthesis report. First, most important report is the IPCC assessment report. The second report is the synthesis report. So these reports, the speciality about these report is they are not technical. They don't use the technical terms, they use very general terms. So the policy makers can understand it, even common public can understand it. So with respect to assessment report, for one report we are going to look in bit detail, that is assessment report 5. What is assessment report 5? So this is a report which links the climate change with socio-economic aspects, how climate change gets affected by education levels, how it is affected by poverty, employment level, gender inequality, all those things, right? So it focuses on water. This assessment report 5 focuses on socio impact assessment, socio-economic impact on various sectors, that is water, carbon, ice sheets and other things. So that is one thing, right? So this is all about the IPCC report. This IPCC also has done work with respect to the national greenhouse gas inventories. This IPCC says every nation should maintain a data about their greenhouse gases. Inventory and stock. So how much stock, how much carbon dioxide you are emitting, please have a data about it. That is said by the IPCC. IPCC gives a recommendation with respect to this, right? So this in this direction they have National Greenhouse Gas Inventories Program. There is a program called National Greenhouse Gas Inventories Program. So this program was established by IPCC. When it comes to IPCC, this is very, very important, right? So what do? They estimate the greenhouse gases of individual countries, right? So the why greenhouse gases inventory and the data about greenhouse gases inventory is important, andre it is going to help with respect to cross comparison across the countries. So you can compare the greenhouse gas emissions between the countries. Also you can give recommendation with respect to how these greenhouse gases can be reduced based on the inventory levels, right? So with respect to IPCC National Inventories Program, so this first inventory, first inventory was started in 1990s, right? So then the second inventory was given in the 2000 they gave the second inventory, and later on 2006 they gave the third inventory about the each country's greenhouse gas emissions. Third inventory was given in 2006, right? So this is all about the IPCC and its assessment report and its national greenhouse gas inventories, right? So tomorrow, next I am going to talk about the green economy. Green economy, the concept of green economy. What is green economy? You know that you are going to, so we are developing, we are undergoing growth, right? So how much of this growth is actually green? So how much are we dependent on carbon dioxide emissions for the growth, right? So are we undergoing a green growth? That is what is spoken by the green economy. So this green economy, actually there is no standard definition. So in Rio Plus 20 in 2012 they aim to give a standard definition saying that this green economy focuses on sustainable development. That is, we are going to develop, but we develop with protecting the environment. That is the meaning of green economy. And also it focuses on poverty eradication. Green economy also focuses on poverty eradication, right? So it has got three dimensions of sustainable development, green economy. One is social dimension, economic dimension, and environmental dimension. These are the three dimensions of the green economy, right? So it speaks about what? It speaks about the fundamental changes, the basic changes that is required in the economy to make it green. What are the changes that is required to make the economy green, right? So what this green economy says, Andre, that it says that the income and employment should be driven by public and private investment. So whatever the investment, that is public investment as well as the private investment we are doing in the economy, it should reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. The investment or the economy should reduce the carbon dioxide emissions, right? So it should focus on green energy. So whatever the investment it should it should focus on green energy and green jobs and low carbon economy. So we should focus more and more on the low carbon economies. That is what is said by the green economy. So what is the there are three priorities for transforming ourselves into a green economy. What are the three priorities? First is decarbonize the economy. Andre, so whatever the growth we are undergoing, that growth should be without carbon emission, right? So there should be very less carbon emission, and also commit the society for justice and equality, environmental justice. Andre, everybody should have a equal opportunity to exploit the resources, right? So that is the second priority. And third, conserve the biosphere. Third priority is conserve the biosphere. These are the three priorities of green economy, right? So measures to adopt green economy. What can be done to adopt the green economy? One is conduct energy audit. Energy audit should be conducted frequently so that how much an industry is growing in a green way, how much of it is growing in a green way, right? And also promote sustainable fishing practices. Fishing, so various sectors I am going to speak about with respect to green economy. So one is how much renewable energy is being produced, right? And second is conduct the audit, environmental audit of the industries. Third is focus on various sectors. Fishing, whether fishing is sustainable. Fishing also contributes to the economy. So fishing is called as blue economy, right? So focus on sustainable fishing, focus on reducing deforestation, and use the digital documents instead of the physical documents. All these things. So overall, so instead of using private car, use public transport. All these things, reducing the electricity consumption, focus on sustainable development. All these things are the work under green economy, right? Green economy does all these things. So this is all about the green economy. Next, I am going to talk about the one global initiative called the Economics of Ecosystem and Biodiversity, TEEB. The Economics of Ecosystem and Biodiversity. What is TEEB? So this is an initiative started by Germany in 2007. So who is the person behind? So there is an Indian person behind TEEB. The person's name is Pawan Sukhdev. Pawan Sukhdev is behind this initiative. The Economics of Ecosystem and Biodiversity means what? So the ecosystem and biodiversity, they are giving lot of products, right? From the environment, from the biodiversity, we are deriving lot of products. Alva. So these products, there should be a value for these products, right? Also, we are emitting lot of emissions, right? So these emissions, they should be quantified, and they should be how much we are spoiling the environment. There should be a monetary value to that, right? So if we are emitting fossil fuel based emissions, so there should be a monetary value for that. And this much emission of greenhouse gases is going to reduce the biodiversity by this much amount, and it costs the earth this much amount. So there should be a monetary value for all kinds of emissions. That is what is the aim of the TEEB. That is, they calculate the cost of biodiversity destruction. Biodiversity, if you destroy, Andre, what is the cost of it, right? That they are going to talk about, right? So they focus on policy costs and costs of inaction. Andre, how much will be the cost? So the policy, we are developing a, so we are developing the environment, we are developing the economy by spoiling the environment, right? So what is the policy cost behind it, right? What is the cost of destroying the environment? That they focus upon. And second thing is, what are the risks associated with developing unsustainable development? What are the risks associated with it, right? So with respect to this, there is a initiative in India also. The initiative is Biodiversity Team and India Initiative. There is a India specific initiative called Biodiversity and India specific initiative, right? So this is about the economics of ecosystem and biodiversity initiative. Next, I am going to talk about ecological footprint. What is ecological footprint? Ecological footprint andre how much humans are impacting the environment in our aim to grow. How much we are spoiling the environment. That is the focus of ecological footprint, right? So we are building a house. How much it is costing the environment. That is the concept of ecological footprint, right? So we this Earth has got a capacity, right? So how much we are spoiling that capacity, or how much we are misusing the capacity. That is the concept of ecological footprint. So current ecological footprint andre with respect to our current demand, what current demand of from the environment, we require 1.5 Earths, right? To satisfy the demand of humans today, 1 Earth is not sufficient. We require 1.5 Earth. So that is the ecological footprint. So with respect to ecological footprint, we have one more concept called carbon footprint. Andre, how much carbon we are emitting, how much it is costing the environment. That is the carbon footprint, right? So this carbon footprint, we emit the carbon dioxide. How much cost does it take to put the carbon back into the sinks? That is to sequester the carbon, how much money it is going to take, right? So this carbon footprint is actually 54% of the ecological footprint. So if we are emitting 100% is the ecological footprint, out of which carbon alone constitutes 54% of the ecological footprint. This is very important. So with respect to this, we have a global footprint network. So this is the organization which measures the ecological footprint, right? This is the organization, right? So they focus on, see, our lifestyle, how much vehicles we are using, what is the mode of transport, what is the heating mechanism we are using, what is the transport mechanism, what are the costs we are imposing on the environment, everything they measure, right? So once they measure, what they do, they calculate. See, they say that in the Western countries lifestyle of the people, it requires 5 Earths to satisfy the lifestyle of the Western countries people, right? So their individual carbon emission is actually more, very high. Whereas in India, individual carbon emission is very less. They say that for Indian lifestyle, 0.9 Earth is sufficient. But for Western lifestyle, it requires 4 to 5 Earths to satisfy their demands, right? So this is about the ecological footprint. Next, I am going to talk about the global climate financial architecture. I am going to continue. So I discussed about the special climate change fund. So similarly, I am going to discuss various funds. So these funds actually, they are multilateral funds, right? Multilateral, many countries manage it, right? So you have most of the funds managed by either World Bank or Global Environmental Facility. Under what initiative? There is a initiative called Climate Investment Fund. So there is an initiative of Climate Investment Fund. So under this Climate Investment Fund, most of the funds come, right? So the first one is Special Climate Change Fund, which I told earlier, 2001, managed by GEF. Second fund is Strategic Climate Fund. So this fund is managed by World Bank. Strategic Climate Fund. So what does this fund was started in 2008? What does it focus upon? All the funds focus on either adaptation or mitigation. That is the common thing, right? So this fund, it is within the Climate Investment Fund. This forms part of the overall Climate Investment Fund. One of the part, right? It is a multi-donor trust fund. Andre multiple people are donors for this fund, right? So under this Strategic Climate Fund, there are multiple initiatives. The first initiative is Forest Investment Program. So what is Forest Investment Program? So it also managed by the World Bank, and 2009 it started. So Forest Investment Fund, it focuses on what? Reducing the deforestation and increasing the afforestation. That is what it focuses upon. And also it focuses on financing the developing countries. Especially developing countries need money to reduce the deforestation. That is what this Forest Investment Program focuses on. Then the second initiative under Strategic Climate Fund is the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience. Climate resilience andre, what do you mean by climate resilience? Our capability to get adjusted to climate change is climate resilience. So to enhance this climate resilience, there is a pilot program. So again, this is also managed by, this is part of the Strategic Climate Fund managed by World Bank, started in 2008. So this is also part of the overall. So if there is Climate Investment Fund under this, you have Strategic Climate Fund and you have this Forest Investment Program and you have Pilot Program on Climate Resilience. Pilot Program on Climate Resilience. All are the part of the Climate Investment Fund, right? So next, next part is the scaling up renewable energy. The third part of the Strategic Climate Fund is scaling up renewable energy in low income countries program. Andre, in the low income countries, that is least developed countries. How many of them are there? Yesterday I told 46 least developed countries. There we should scale up the renewable energy. So that is which is the organization? The World Bank. Again, it is managed by the World Bank, started in 2009. So that is about the increasing renewable energy, right? Then, so this is all about the Strategic Climate Fund. Now we are going to discuss some other funds. Biocarbon Fund. Again, 2004 start agutte, managed by World Bank. So what is Biocarbon Fund andre? It is focuses on reducing emissions, right? And also promoting climate smart agriculture. Climate smart agriculture, right? So that is promoting green economy. So biocarbon, that is green carbon initiative, reducing the carbon and store the carbon and promote green agriculture, smart agriculture, right? Then Clean Technology Fund, one more fund, Clean Technology Fund, started by World Bank, 2008, same 2008. So this Clean Technology Fund, this gives money to enhance the clean technology. Which are the clean technologies? Hydrogen fuel, nuclear, yeah, except that it gives nuclear waste, it is also a clean fuel. Hydroelectricity, solar, everything, right? So we need technology for these things. So that money comes from the Clean Technology Fund. Then you have the next initiative is Forest Carbon Partnership Facility. Again, World Bank starts in 2008, right? So what is it focus on? It focuses on RED, Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, reducing the carbon emissions from the agriculture, or increasing the sequestration of carbon, or increasing afforestation. So this forest carbon partnership facility focuses on RED plus. Then one more initiative, partnership for market readiness. So again, it was given by World Bank in the year 2011. So what is this market readiness? Andre, it focuses on mitigation efforts. Andre, to reduce the climate change, what needs to be done? That is what is focused by this program, right? With respect to it, exclusively focus on mitigation. For mitigation, it gives money, right? Technology and money. Then you have special climate change fund. I discussed this special climate change fund earlier, right? It is a main funding mechanism of the UNFCCC, managed by Global Environment Facility. Then you have one more fund, GEF Trust Fund. GEF started in 2001. That has got a special fund called Trust Fund, right? So this was started in 1991. It supports what? It supports the UNFCCC, right? So this is the longest standing public fund for climate change, right? So next you have one more fund, Least Developed Countries Fund. Least Developed Countries Fund. So least developed country ke fund, it is actually under World Bank, right? So that is with respect to economy, help with respect to economic crisis. So the least developed countries I am talking about, it is with respect to climate change. So this fund is also managed by Global Environmental Facility, LDCF, Global Environmental Facility, starts in 2002. So it focuses on adaptation. Andre, least developed countries should get adapted to climate change. That is what this focuses upon, right? So with respect to this, it gives national adaptation programs. Andre, least developed countries should get adapted to climate change. So individual countries are given programs to get adapted to climate change, called as the National Adaptation Program. Next you have the Green Climate Fund, very important fund. So this is the latest fund, started in 2015. 2015, who manages this? There is a board called Green Climate Fund Board, not World Bank, not Global Environmental Facility. There is a separate board called Green Climate Fund Board, GCF board, right? So this is with respect to, so this is a just like the SCCF, Special Climate Change Fund. This is also with this is also a funding mechanism of UNFCCC, right? So this focuses on giving money to developing countries to get adapted to climate change or reduce the climate change. Then you have Adaptation Fund. So Adaptation Fund antamandre, please remember, it is linked to Kyoto Protocol. So Adaptation Fund was started in 2009. 2009 the year. It is managed by Adaptation Fund Board. So what does this do? It gives funding for the Kyoto Protocol mechanisms of clean development mechanism. I told you Kyoto Protocol has three functions under it: the joint implementation, clean development mechanism, emission trading. Three functions, right? So this focuses on all these things, right? So clean development mechanism ali, what they do, developed countries go and implement the project in developing countries. So in turn what they get carbon emission reduction certificate. So 2% of that money, right, 2% of that investment will go to Adaptation Fund, right? Adaptation Fund. Then you have these are all about the funds. Now I am going to talk about certain initiative. One initiative, Global Climate Change Alliance. It is a grouping of European countries. So this Global Climate Change Alliance, it is administered by European Commission. So what they focus upon? Same, adaptation, mitigation, all those things, right? So these are actually, it is an initiative alliance of European Union and poor developing countries. So it is not only European Union, but alliance between European Union and poor developing countries who are most affected by climate change. They don't have any capacity, right? Poor developing countries. So European Union is helping them. That is a global climate change alliance, right? Okay, then you have then one more fund, Global Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Fund. So this fund is monitored by the European Commission, Global Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Fund. European Commission starts in 2008. So this focuses on public-private partnership. Andre climate change ge bring the money from public as well as private enterprises. That is what this fund focuses upon. It is a fund of funds. Fund of funds andre all the funds from various sectors, it is collected and they do a fund. That is the fund. So even your startup India policy, so you have 2016 under startup policy, you have a fund of fund called seed fund. They give money to begin a startup, right? So there also you find a this fund of funds. Fund of funds and multiple funds are collected and integrated into a single fund, right? So, okay, next we have UN RED program. UN RED program. Who manages this RED program? It is managed by UNDP. United Nations Development Program manages the UN RED program, right? That is with respect to afforestation and reducing deforestation. This is also a multi-donor trust fund, and multiple donors are there for this UN RED program. So this UN RED program, it is an initiative of multiple organizations. UNEP is there, UNDP is there, and also FAO is there. What is FAO? Food and Agriculture Organization. These organizations together have formed this UN RED program, right? So you know what is RED program. So I need not tell about it, right? So then you have adaptation for smallholder agriculture program. Smallholder, andre this is not very important. Then we will focus on Amazon Fund. Amazon Fund, this is by Brazilian Development Bank. They focus on protecting the climate in the Brazilian region, Amazon region, to combat the deforestation in the Amazon region. So this is a private fund. So managed by the Brazilian Development Bank. This is a private fund. Then you have one more country specific fund, Congo Basin Forest Fund. Congo Basin Forest Fund, this is managed by the African Development Bank. You have African Union, you know, right? African Union. So you have a African Development Bank as well. They manage this Congo Basin Forest Fund, right? And what they do, they focus on reducing the deforestation. RED program they focus upon. This is also a multi-donor fund. So this Congo Basin fund, they go for a partnership of civil society, public and everything, right? Then you have one more country specific fund called as Indonesia Climate Change Trust Fund. Indonesia specific fund. So who manages this fund? The Indonesia National Development and Planning Agency manages this fund. This fund was started in 2010, right? So they that is also that deals with respect to climate change mitigation and adaptation, right? So then you have the Petersburg. So next we will talk about the One Planet Summit. So there was a One Planet Summit which was held. So now this, it is at least what they say, 30% of the planet should work to. So in 30% of the planet, the extinction of species should be reduced. That is what the One Planet Summit speaks about, and 50 countries should work towards it. That is what One Planet Summit talks about. So this is all about the international mechanism for combating the climate change. So next I am going to talk about a very new topic, well-known topic to you, agriculture. So agriculture has a intricate relationship with environment, right? So because of environment only, agriculture is thriving, and there is a mutual relationship between agriculture and environment. So agriculture, so what is agriculture? It includes various things. It includes growing crops, it includes livestock rearing, it includes fishery, it includes growing flowers, it includes vegetables, horticulture, everything, right? Everything comes under agriculture. So some specific things I am going to talk about. Specific types of agriculture methods I am going to talk about. So silviculture, what is silviculture? Cultivating forest trees is silviculture. Sericulture, silkworms, right? Then apiculture. Apiculture with respect to honeybee rearing. Then olericulture. Olericulture, vegetable growing of vegetables is called as olericulture. Then viticulture. Viticulture, growing of grapes is called viticulture. Then floriculture, flowers, very simple. Then arboriculture. What is arboriculture? Andre woody plants, growing woody plants, shrubs and all those things, shrubs, trees which are woody. Then you have so these are the different types of culture and some scientific methods I am going to discuss. So what is pomology? Pomology, Pomology. It is with respect to fruit cultivation, how fruits are stored, how they are produced. Fruit cultivation is pomology. Then aeroponics. What is aeroponics? See, growing the plants without use of soil is called as aeroponic. The name itself suggests growing the plants in air, normal air. So what they do, they will suspend the plants and spray water and nutrients every day for the plants. That is aeroponics, right? Then you have hydroponics. Without soil but growing plants in water, nutrient rich water. Hydroponically they put all the, to the water they will put all the necessary chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, nutrients, everything, and grow the plants. Then geoponic. What is geoponic? It is simple. Normal growing in the normal soil is geoponic, right? So what is the importance of agriculture for India? 17% of our GDP, more than 50% of our population are dependent on agriculture, and also 14% of export comes from what? Agriculture. What are the problems of Indian agriculture? You being from villages, you will know the problems. Starting from credit to soil fertility, everything is a problem. So with respect to agriculture, we have multiple revolutions, multiple agricultural revolutions, right? First is Green Revolution. What did it focus upon? Green Revolution. Food grain production. Golden Revolution. Fruit production. Golden Revolution. Grey Revolution. Fertilizer production. Blue Revolution, fisheries, fish production. Black Revolution, petroleum production. Pink Revolution, just because onion looks pink and red, you say pink. Pink Revolution is with respect to prawn production, prawns, right? Round Revolution, potato production. Red Revolution, there are two things. Meat. One is meat production, another is tomato production. Both of these things are red production. Then Silver Revolution, egg and poultry production. Then white revolution, you know, milk. Yellow revolution, oil seed production, right? So now this is the various types of revolution. They are going to ask you, especially in your FD and ST exams. These are the types of question that is going to come, right? So how do we classify the agriculture, Indian agriculture? How do we classify? So various types of classifications are there. We are going to discuss various methods. One is classification based on climate, right? Based on climate, we classify it into tropical agriculture and temperate agriculture. Tropical agriculture, rice, sugarcane, tropical climate. Temperate agriculture, wheat, potato, all those things. Then classification based on growing season, Kharif season. Kharif crops or monsoon season. Which are the crops? Rice, cotton, jowar, all those things. Rabi season, cold weather season, right? Wheat, sunflower, gram, all those things. Then summer crops, starting from March, April. Summer crops are also called as what? Zaid crops. So they require warm, dry weather, right? Warm and dry weather, no rainfall, right? So which are the crops? Watermelon, groundnut, pumpkins, all those things, right? So then classification based on the crops, agronomic classification. So first is cereals. What do you mean by cereals? Cereals are starchy grains. Which are the cereals? Rice, wheat, maize, barley, all these are cereals. Millets. What are the millets? So millets are actually consumed mostly by poor people, right? Because they are cheap and also grown in arid regions where there is not much rainfall. So millets, there are two types of millets, major millets and minor millets. So major millet, ragi, your bajra, jowar, bajra, all these are major millet. Minor millet, foxtail millet, common millet and other things. Then you have pulses. What are the pulses? Pulses are leguminous crops. Leguminous andre they directly convert the nitrogen and absorb it. Those are the leguminous crops. So legumes, legumes, right? So what are the pulses? So pulses, what is it good? They actually enrich the soil. They are also good source of nutrition, right? So pulses, wherever you go pulses, the soil will get rejuvenated. Soil will get rejuvenated, right? So what are the types of pulses? Your red gram, green gram, Bengal gram, horse gram, soya bean, all these are the pulses. Then oil seed crops, from which oil is extracted. What are the oil seed crops? Groundnut, mustard, safflower, castor, right? Sunflower, sesame, all these things. Sugar crops. So one is your sugar cane. Sugar cane gives products like jaggery sugar, sub-products like molasses, bagasse and press mud. Molasses, where is molasses used? Alcohol production, right? Alcohol and yeast. Bagasse, fuel, biofuel and also paper production, right? Then you have sugar beet. One more source of sugar crop is sugar beet. Sugar tubers. What are sugar tubers? Sweet potato, all those things, right? Then you have fiber crops. Fiber crops andre there will be fiber over the crops, like fibrous, like there will be hairs over the crop, just like nugekai, right? So fibrous crops, which are there? Stem fibers, jute, mesa, all those things. All are fiber crops. Even cotton, right? They are all various fiber crops. They give out the fiber. Then you have narcotic crops. So this you will know. Tobacco, areca nut, betel vine, ele. All these things, viledele, right? Then forage crops, fodder crops. What are the fodder crops? Various types of grasses, stalks, leaves, like hay, all these things, right? Fodder. Okay, so what indi busa antara? Okay, so fodder, pullu. Then grasses. What are the types of grasses? You have lemongrass, guinea grass, all those things. Then you have plantation crops. Tea, coffee. Tea is extracted from the seed or leaf? Coffee? Seed. That you should know. Rubber, cocoa, all these things. Then you have the spices and condiments. What are the spices and condiments? Pepper, cardamom, clove, all those things. Then medicinal plants. Then you have aromatic plants. Aromatic, which gives good smell. Lemongrass. Then peppermint, rose, jasmine, all these plants. Then, so this is based on the agronomic classification. Then classification based on the life duration of the crops, how long they take to grow. So one is seasonal crops. Andre these crops grow in within one season. Rainy andre rainy olige beldi harvestation agogude. So one season crops is rice, wheat, jowar, all those things. Then 2 season crops, which takes at least 2 seasons, rainy plus summer. So what are the 2 season crops? You have cotton, ginger, all those things. Then annual crops. Annual crops requires entire 1 year. Best example, sugar cane. 1 year it requires. Then biennial crops requires 2 years. Example, banana, papaya, all those crops. Then you have perennial crops. Andre always there. Fruit crops, mango, guava, all those things. Guava andre no, sibekai. So then based on the water availability mele, there is rain-fed crops and irrigated crops, right? Then based on root system, you have taproot crops and fiber root crops. Taproot andre normal, cotton, grape, all those things. Fiber rooted andre rice, cereal. So the root will be fibrous, right? Lateral roots, taproot, all those things I discussed, right? That is the based on root system. Then based on economic importance, you have cash crop. So what are cash crops? Sugar cane, cotton, all those things. Then food crop, which is used for food. Then classification based on number of seeds, number of cotyledons. So you have monocots, monocotyledons. Which are monocotyledons? Having one seed, all the millets, ragi and all those things. Then dicots, dicotyledons. Which are dicotyledons? Which has 2 seeds. Yeah. So all your legumes crops, legumes, kalagalu, all they are dicotyledons. Then classification based on the photo period. Andre how much sunlight is required for the plant to grow and flower. Based on that, so there are 3 based on the relative length of day and night. Certain crops are classified. So first is short day plants, right? Which requires very less amount of day, more amount of night. Short day plants. So the example is rice, jowar, black gram, all those things. Short day crops. Then long day crops, which requires long length of day. Wheat, barley, all those things. Then day neutral crops, which is not dependent on the length of the day, right? Then this is all about the classification of the crops, basic classification of the Indian crops based on various methods. Then I am going to next talk about tillage. What do you mean by tillage? Tilling means what? Hola uladu, right? So ulume is called tillage, right? So tillage is the mechanical manipulation of the soil, mechanically, either using the negilo or by tillers, mechanical tillers, right? So that is tillage. Then tilt Tilth is what? Out of tillage, what is the condition of the soil we get? That is called as tilth, right? So whether what is the physical condition we get? So whether the tilth andre ತುಂಬಾ ಡೀಪ್ ಆಗಿ ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದೀವ ಆರ್ ಮೇಲ್ಮೇಲ್ ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದೀವ. ಸೊ ಉಳುಮೆಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ all the soil components are broken or they not broken, all these things is a tilth. The physical characteristics of tillage is called as tilth. Then what are the types of tillage? One is on season tillage and off season tillage. On season andre during the season of raising the crop, ಮಳೆಗಾಲ ಬಂತು ಅವಾಗ ಉಳುಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ that is on season tillage. Off season andre when there is no season for growing, during that time you will till the land and leave it, that is off season tillage, right? So next I am going to talk about preparatory tillage. So this off season tillage is also called as preparatory tillage. Andre you prepare the land for the upcoming season for growth, that is preparatory tillage. So this preparatory tillage we are going to classify it into multiple things. One is primary tillage. What is primary tillage? The first level of tillage is called as primary tillage. Andre ತುಂಬಾ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ deep agi you are going to till, right? Coarse tillage, right? The first tillage is called as the primary tillage. So what they use here, tractors they will use, plow, everything. So very hard tillage is called as primary tillage. Then secondary tillage. So primary tillage ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ one more time you till the soil to get good quality soil, good quality tillage, that is secondary tillage. ಎರಡನೇ round, that is secondary tillage. So secondary tillage what they do, so ಹೆಂಟೆಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ ಅವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪುಡಿ ಪುಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಹೆಂಟೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ weed, unwanted plants, everything. So and make the soil break it into pieces so that the crop is going to grow easily, that is secondary tillage. Then dry tillage. Dry tillage andre tillage carried in the dry land condition where there is no water, nothing, right? No sufficient moisture, there you carry out the tillage, that is dry land tillage. Then you have wetland tillage or puddling tillage. Andre ನೀರ್ ನಿಂತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಶುದ್ಧ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ you do the tilling, right? That is puddling tillage or wetland tillage, right? So puddling tillage, what they do? See, why puddling tillage? Where they use? For rice they use. So in puddling tillage they create a impervious layer. Andre puddling andre see, in puddling you need the water to stay stagnant, right? So what they will do, you will till it so that the bottom layer become impervious. Andre ನೀರು ಇಳಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸೇವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. For that saving of water, stagnation of water, you do the tillage. So the bottom layer will become impervious for water. That is the puddling. Then off-season tillage, we have multiple types of tillage. Post harvest tillage andre ಸುಗ್ಗಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಕಟಾವ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ you do the tillage, that is post harvest tillage. Then summer tillage, before rainfall you do the tillage summer, and after in winter you do the tillage, that is winter tillage. And fallow tillage, ಬರಡು ಭೂಮಿಲಿ you do the tillage. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬರಡು ಭೂಮಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ where the land has not yet been grown, right? Land is left fallow, right? ಹಂಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಏನು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೆ. So that is fallow tillage, right? Where the land is fallow without any crops, empty land. Then you have special purpose tillage. So tillage plowing carried out for any special purpose, whatever may be the purpose, right? So that is special purpose tillage. In that you have clean tillage, blind tillage, wet tillage, zero tillage and everything. So first is the under special purpose tillage, one is subsoiling. Subsoiling, see, in subsoiling there will be a hard layer of soil, hard pan of soil, right? Especially in alkaline areas, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಉಪ್ಪಿನಂಶ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ there will be hard pan of soil. So that if you till it, it is called as subsoiling. Breaking of the hard pan is called as subsoiling. Then you have clean tillage. Clean tillage ali, all the living plants are tilled. So no plant is left behind. That is clean tillage. The land is completely tilled. That is clean tillage. Then blind tillage. Blind tillage ali, once you plant the seed, after that you carry out the tillage, that is blind tillage, post sowing of the crops, right? Why blind tillage is carried out andre? To remove the weeds. Weeds are unnecessary plants. If to remove, you carry the blind tillage. Then you have zero tillage. Zero tillage andre, no tillage will be done, right? Without tillage the crops are grown. That is zero tillage, right? So this is all about the tilling, various types of tilling. Then I am going to now talk about the cropping and cropping patterns. Cropping and cropping patterns. So what is cropping? Growing of crops, right? So the first concept is cropping intensity. What is cropping intensity? How much crops you are going to grow on the land, right? In 1 year, how many crops you are going to grow? Whether are you going to grow 2 crops or 3 crops? Tamil Nadu, they take 3 to 4 crops per year. Whereas Rajasthan and all hardly 1 or 2 crops. Haryana, this green revolution areas also 3 crops, right? So that is cropping intensity, right? Then cropping pattern. What is cropping pattern? In the yearly sequence of cropping, andre, after what this crop, what is the next crop you are going to grow? After that crop, what is the third crop you are going to grow? That is the cropping pattern, right? Cropping pattern. Then cropping system. So we have multiple types of cropping system. See, cropping pattern andre, one is yearly sequence, another is the spatial sequence. Andre, one row you have grown one type of plant, next row you have grown second type of plant. That is also cropping pattern. What is the type of crops you are growing, right? These are the two meanings. Then you have cropping system. So under cropping system you have various concepts. First is multiple cropping. Multiple cropping. What do you mean by multiple cropping? Growing 2 or more crops in succession. Andre, not together. Ondadmel vandu. Growing 2 or more crops is called as multiple cropping, right? So it is also called as intensive cropping because there will be high intensity of crop growth. Then you have double cropping. Double cropping means of what? 2 crops. Growing 2 crops in a year is called as double cropping. Then triple cropping, 3 crops. Triple cropping example, double cropping example, rice first, pulses later, right? Triple cropping, rice, pulse. The first rice, second season also rice, third season pulse. Quadruple cropping, 4 crops in a season. That is quadruple cropping. Then, so these are the types of cropping. Then monoculture. Monoculture means what? At a given time, if your entire land is filled with only one type of crop, that is monoculture. Only one type of crop you are growing, that is monoculture. Then what is monocropping? There is a difference between monoculture and monocropping. Monocropping andre, monocropping, same crop you are growing again and again. After harvesting, you are growing same crop again, that is monocropping. Monoculture, same crop at a time. Monocropping, multiple, same crop you are growing in a sequence, one after the other. That is monocropping. Monoculture and monocropping. Then sequential cropping. Sequential cropping andre, growing crops one after the other, right? So first season you are going to grow one type of crop, second season second type of crop, third season third type of crop, right? That is the sequential cropping, right? So then you have ratoon cropping. What do you mean by ratoon cropping? What do you mean by ratoon? Ratoon cropping ali, you are not going to grow sow the seeds again and again. ಈಗ ಬಾಳೆ ದಿಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, so you are not going to sow the thing again and again. So you are going to cut it and again that same thing will grow. Similar with the sugarcane also, that is ratoon cropping, right? So we have multiple types of ratoon cropping. Sugarcane has 8 ratoons in Cuba. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಸೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 8 ಸಲ ಬರೋವರೆಗೂ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ. ಅದು ಬಂದು ಒಂದೇ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. Ratoon cropping. Banana, generally 2 ratoons. Banana crops, right? Pineapple crop is also that is also growing under ratoon cropping. Then intercropping andre growing 2 or more crops at the same time is called as intercropping. In intercropping you have 2 types of crop. One is base crop. The main crop is called as base crop. Then you have intercrop. That is intercrop is in between the main crop you grow certain other crop, that is intercrop. Main crop and intercrop, that is called as intercropping, right? So example of intercropping, main crop is maize. If the main crop is maize, what is maize? Sorry, mekkejola. So with maize you grow cowpea, right? Cowpea, that is the intercropping. Then if the main crop is potato, you grow mustard with it, that is the intercrop, right? Then you have groundnut. Main crop is groundnut, secondary crop is red gram, that is the intercrop, right? So what are the types of intercropping? One is strip intercropping. Strip intercropping andre one strip one type of crop, next strip another type of crop, that is strip intercropping. Understood? Then you have parallel cropping. Parallel andre growing crops parallelly, one type of crop here, parallel to that another type of crop, right? Parallel. Strip alli multiple strips. Parallel andre both are grown parallel, that is second type. Then you have multi-story cropping. Okay, so we are going to discuss each type in detail little bit. So parallel cropping andre, in parallel cropping 2 crops are grown simultaneously, but both the crops there is no competition between the crops. Then you have multi-story cropping. Multi-story cropping andre one crop, one plant will be very tall, another crop will be very small. For example, growing coconut and one another small plant, that is multiple coconut plus pepper, right? That is multi-story cropping. Then you have what? Relay intercropping. Relay intercropping andre just like relay, you run the relay race, right? One crop you grow, after that second crop will be grown, that is relay intercropping. So red gram and groundnut, red gram and groundnut you can do grow for relay cropping. Then you have synergistic cropping. Synergistic cropping alli, see, you grow rice at once, entire crop, entire field rice at once, entire field pepper at once or some other crop. So synergetic crop alli individual crops ಏನು yield ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, if you do the synergy, grow the crops together, the yield will be more, that is synergy, more yield, that is synergetic cropping. Then you have alley cropping. What is alley cropping? So you form alleys, rows, andre you plant the trees, in between the trees you grow the crops, that is called as alleys, right? So what are the alleys? Alley cropping, 2 rows of trees will be there, in between crops will be grown, like that pattern is repeated, that is the alley cropping. So alley crops are, alleys are the trees form the alleys, right? Then you have the concept of mixed cropping. What is mixed cropping? Mixed cropping is different from multiple cropping. Multiple cropping is growing varieties of crops in the same field at the same time. Mixed cropping andre you mix multiple seeds and throw it, so all that seeds grow together, that is mixed cropping, right? So there is no specific rows, right? all the seeds are mixed and broadcasted. That is the mixed cropping. So where is this cropping practiced? In dryland areas. Why is it practiced andre? See, it gives assurance of yield. Even if one seed fails, so one type of seed fails, other type of seed will grow. This is actually grown as crop insurance in subsistence form of farming. What is subsistence farming? Where you grow the crops just to satisfy the needs of your food security for your family. Food security needs of your family you satisfy, that is the subsistence cropping, right? So, they are actually grown in the rain-fed areas, not irrigation, rain-fed areas. So, you have the sorghum, bajra, cowpea, all of them are mixed and broadcasted, right? So, next I am going to talk about the difference between intercropping and mixed cropping. What is the difference? Intercropping andre in specific rows you are going to grow. Mixed cropping andre mix the seeds and throw, right? And so this mixed cropping, it is a insurance against crop failure, right? Any other one or the other crop will grow, right? So in intercropping there is no competition between the crops because specific rows they are growing. Mixed cropping there is competition for resources, right? Then here mixed cropping, intercropping, the crops may be of same duration. The crops are of same duration. In mixed cropping, they may grow in the same duration or different durations, right? In intercropping, same duration crops are grown, right? Then you have sowing time. Sowing time of intercrops actually same time the crops will be sown. Whereas mixed seasonally, in intercropping, sowing time may not be the same. One row you may plant it now. The next row, that is the intercrop, you might plant it later. Whereas mixed crop, the sowing time is same. So these are basically the difference between intercrop and mixed crop. Understood? Right? Okay. Then I am going to now talk about certain types of farming. So what are the types of farming we find in India? So you have wetland farming. So you know wetland, where there is during the low tide at least 6 meters of water is there. That is wetland, right? So it is actually wetlands are actually submerged in water. So in those areas, if you are growing the crop, that is wetland farming. The best example is rice. So 70% of paddy cultivation, 70% of the wetlands are under rice cultivation. That is wetland farming, right? So then garden land farming. Garden land farming andre growing crops from irrigation from groundwater. If you take the groundwater and use it, that is the garden land farming, right? Then you have dry land farming. Dry land farming based on rainfall, moisture of rainfall, right? So here dry land farming the rainfall should be less than 750 centimeter, 750 millimeter, 750 ginta kadme irbeku. Dry land, to classify a area as dry land farming area, the rainfall should be within 750 right? Then you have rain-fed farming. Rain-fed farming where the rainfall is more than 750 that is the rain-fed farming. Then you have mixed farming, mixed cropping, so what are the things? Mixed cropping, multiple cropping, mixed farming. Multiple cropping and growing multiple crops, right? Variety of crop. either sequentially or at the same time. Mixed cropping andre mix the seeds and throw, right? Mixed farming andre you grow agriculture, this vegetables also, you grow fruits also, you grow crop also, you rear chicken also, you rear sheep also, fish also, everything, right? That is mixed cropping, mixed farming. So that is the whole farming. One land alli that farmer does everything, even growing the forest, I mean trees, agroforestry, right? Okay. Then you have the concept of specialized farming. What is specialized farming? Andre more than 50% of the income for the farmer comes from a specific crop. That is specialized farming. 50% in the jasti income one day crop, one type of crop in the barbeku. That is specialized farming. Then you have the specialized farming. One more type is diversified farming, where no crop gives more than 50%. That is diversified farming. Understood? Right. Okay. Then crop rotation. What do you mean by crop rotation? ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಇದನ್ನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ರು, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಮಲ್ಗಿರ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ growing the crops in pre-plant succession, right? So why crop rotation is done? To utilize the soil or nutrition completely. That is the crop rotation. So the example is rice, red gram and banana. That can be. So if you go to villages, talk to your farmers. How do they rotate the crops, right? Okay. So what are the principles? Certain principles are there for crop rotation. If you follow this principle, the yield will be high. Leguminous crops should be grown before non-leguminous crops. Andre kalugalna pulses should be grown before food grain crops. Why? Because leguminous crops actually increases the fertility of the soil. So that is one thing. Then you have crops with tap root should be grown along with next to fibrous roots. Andre there should be a succession. First tap root hakare, next to fibrous root. Yakandre tap root goes very deep, fibrous root very shallow length. So if there is soil, there are two roots. So first within active, second within active. So this plant will utilize all the nutrition here, this plant will utilize all the nutrition here. So all the nutritions are successfully utilized. That is one thing. Then you have more exhaustive crops should be followed by less exhaustive crops. And sugarcane is exhaustive, rice is exhaustive, and it requires lot of resources. Those kind of crops should be grown along with less exhaustive, less pressure crops, ragi or something. Ragi antu. So even in our school, if you want to do, if they asked us to do some farm model of some farming, what we used to do, put some mud, throw some ragi, 3 days, the sprouts used to come, right? So ragi everywhere it grows. Adike we have this ragi is called as poor man's food, right? So we in Kannada we have Kanakadasa Ramadhanya Charitre antide Kanakadasradu. So there they give the victory for ragi because it protects the poor people. Okay, very wonderful poem, or it is not a poem, it's a kavya. So at that time, now poem andre we confine it to 1 or 2 pages, but earlier in Kannada literature kavya andre even Pampa Bharata, which even for example Bharatesha Vaibhava is also called as kavya, but it has 10,000 poems totally. Like that, Ramadhanya Charitra is also one of the things, right? Okay, enough of Kannada literature, right? Then you have crops of same family should not be grown together. Andre ಒಂದೇ family belong to crop, similarity iro crop na if you grow, what happens? It will be affected, infested with pest. That is the danger, right? Okay. Then so this is all about the crop rotation. Next I am going to talk about organic farming. What is organic farming? Without using chemical fertilizers, without using pesticides, without insecticides, growing on natural manure, right? So this organic farming, the next step is zero based natural farming, zero budget natural farming. Only you have certain things called bijamruta, vapasa and all those things. They use cow urine, cow dung, dead leaves to grow the crops. So zero budget national farming, they try to implement it in Andhra Pradesh or Kerala or Telangana, right? So which is the first state in India to grow completely organic? Sikkim, right? Sikkim is the first state. Okay. So organic farming ali, so you grow based on the natural manures, right? So what are the components of organic farming? One is crop rotation. Crop should be rotated, use natural manure, right? Then biological control of pests. Andre pesticides, biopesticides, right? To control the pest, you use the biopesticides. That is also one of the methods of organic farming, right? So is organic farming, does it have any market? So today everybody wants organic products. Even if you go on Big Basket and Grofers, you have specific organic products, right? So they also, that is one thing, and also they provide food security, right? Assured food is there. There is very less probability of the crop failing, right? Then it uses the natural resources properly, right? So imported pesticides and all is not needed for the organic farming, right? So next I'm going to talk about three concepts. Eco farming. What is eco farming? Three facts I'm going to give you. Eco farming. What is eco farming? So eco farming with respect to ecosystem, you know the ecosystem, right? Forest, right? So you grow the agriculture in synchronization with ecosystem, that is eco farming, in a ecologically beneficial way, right? Then you have biological farming. Biological farming, carry out the farming to increase the biodiversity, that is biological farming. Then you have biodynamic farming. This is important. What is biodynamic farming? So it is organic farming and organic and sustainable farming is called as biodynamic farming. Organic farming irbeku, sustainable farming should also be there, that is biodynamic farming. So with respect to organic farming, there are certain principles. What are the principles of organic farming? One is crop rotation, right? Second is organic resources, use of organic pesticides, manure and all. And third is mixed cropping. You grow multiple crops. That is the third mechanism, third principle of the organic farming. So the catchword for organic farming is feed the soil, not the plant. Soil idrane alva plant grow agadu. So take care of the soil will take care of the plant, right? So there was one soil scientist who got a World Food Prize from India. Forgot his name here. Some 4-5 years back. He's a very old person. He is in America. He is an Indian citizen. He lives in America. Let me check. Okay. So he's a soil scientist, Indian soil scientist, Indian soil getting World Food Prize. Don't know whether the internet is working. Ratan Lal. In 2020, see, Ratan Lal is an Indian American. He gets the World Food Prize. So he's a soil scientist. I told you, no? So he is the person, Ratan Lal. He is an Indian American. World Food Prize in the year 2020. Fact important for your exam, right? Okay. So then we are going to talk about what is the difference between organic fertilizers and inorganic fertilizers. Organic from the manure, dead leaves and all those things. Inorganic from chemicals, right? So organic fertilizers adds humus content, that is manure content to the soil. Inorganic doesn't add, right? So organic fertilizers increases the water holding capacity, increases the soil capacity, whereas this inorganic reduces the water holding capacity and soil capacity. Inorganic also causes soil erosion. Organic for soil holds the organic manure holds the soil together, right? So these are the differences between organic and inorganic fertilizers. Then next I am going to talk about permaculture. Permaculture. What is permaculture? Permaculture means permanent agriculture. Permanent agriculture. It is an integrated system. See, in permanent agriculture, you will be having your house also there. You will be growing food also, rearing cattle, sheep, right? Carrying out your economic activity. Everything is integrated. So it is a integrated system of food production, housing and technology and community development, right? That is socio-economic development. So agriculture is linked to every other field. That is permaculture or permanent agriculture. Here we have the focus of permaculture is caring of the earth. We should care the earth. That is the motto. So under permanent agriculture, permaculture, they focus on our cultural systems, protecting the culture of respecting the agriculture, right? So it is similar to organic culture, organic farming, permaculture, right? So what are the characteristics? One is it is integrated. Second is this permaculture can be applied to any system, can be applied anywhere, right? Any ecosystem. And it respects traditional knowledge. That is one thing. And it incorporates sustainable agriculture. That is, we will develop also economic development also, social development also, agriculture development also, protection also, protecting of the environment also, right? So it promotes organic agriculture. I told you, right? So this is about permaculture. Okay. So next I am going to talk about, so if you are growing a plant, what does the plant need? Water, only water? Sunlight then? See, water and sunlight, even a first standard son will do, first standard kid will tell. Most importantly, nutrients. Nutrients, we are going to classify it into macronutrients and micronutrients. Please remember, what are the macronutrients? You should know by name. N, P, K. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Also, sulfur, calcium and magnesium. By heart it. NPK, MSC. So how do I give a mnemonic for this? NPK, CMS. Something like this. So calcium, magnesium, sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Here confusion agutte. Phosphorus yadu, potassium yadu anta. So K is potassium. P is phosphorus, right? So these are the macronutrients. Micronutrients. So macronutrients, there should not be any confusion. See, whatever micronutrients, whichever is not macronutrient, that is micronutrient. So your iron, zinc, right? Sodium, all those things, chlorine, copper, everything is a silicon, everything is a micronutrient. First is, we're going to talk about nitrogen. So nitrogen, why it is important? And it is a part of amino acids. It is a part of proteins. Proteins being taken up by the plants, right? So it helps in plant metabolism. So it helps in photosynthesis. Nitrogen illa andre there is no photosynthesis. So this green color of the plants is because of nitrogen. Plants get green color because of chlorophyll. In turn, chlorophyll gets it from nitrogen, right? So they are actually, they help in fixing the sunlight absorption. Nitrogen helps. And also so that is about the nitrogen. Then phosphorus also helps in fixing the sunlight absorption, right? Phosphorus is actually important. It is actually part of the nucleic acids. In the nucleus, acids are there now in the plants. There phosphorus is important. Phosphorus is important for root growth, growing of the roots. Then you have potassium. Potassium is important for carbon assimilation and also storage of food in the plant, sugar, water, everything, right? So it also regulates the amount of water in the plants. What regulates? It is potassium. Then magnesium. Magnesium is present in chlorophyll. Please remember, nitrogen and magnesium are present in chlorophyll. It's a probable question. So then sulfur. Sulfur is actually building block of protein. Just like nitrogen, it is a building block of protein. Then you have calcium. Calcium is important for cell division, the plant cells. So in your schools, they would have shown you the diagram of the plant cell, right? Cell wall. Does animal cell has a cell wall? No, right? So I still remember plant cell was somewhat like this, in this shape, correct? Rectangular shape. And animal cell was somewhat in this shape, right? Here they will have a cell wall or something. That we will study under the biology section of science and technology, right? So this is about the macronutrients. Then for manures and fertilizers. So you have in manures, you have two types of manures. One is bulky organic manure. Organic manure. Second is concentrated organic manure. In organic manures, you have bulky organic manure and concentrated organic manure, right? So what is the difference between manure and fertilizer? See, which gives more nutrient content? Nutrition is more in what? Organic or fertilizer? Nutrient content is more in fertilizer. See, organic manure, sagni is not meant to be a manure. Cow dung is not meant to be a manure. It is just a dropping from the cow. Whereas fertilizers are manufactured only specifically for the crops. So their nutrient content is high. Too much nutrition, right? So what is the role of the manure? Is they improve the water holding capacity, as I told you, and they improve the better root growth. Root growth is improved because of manure, and they add nutrients to the plant. They promote the microbial activity. Microbial activity is promoted, especially organic manure. Whereas if you put the chemical fertilizer, the microbes will die, right? So which are the types of manure? So classification of manure we should know. See this chemical fertilizer illa, does it give slow release of manure or fast release of fertilizer, the nutrients? Fast release. Organic manure, slow release. That is why it is important. It is good, right? So what are the classification of organic manure? You have farmyard manure. What is farmyard manure? It is a traditional manure. Cow dung, right? Cattle dung, urine, leaf, right? All these are the farmyard manure. Then compost manure. What is compost manure? Compost manure is composting, decomposition of leaves, dead leaves and plants and animals, that is composting manure. So here you have aerobic decomposition and anaerobic decomposition. Aerobic andre in the presence of air, anaerobic decomposition in the absence of air, right? So then you have concentrated organic manure. So these two what I am talked about, farmyard manure and compost manure, they are bulky organic manure. Concentrated organic manure is, first is oil cake, right? From the oil seeds they make the cake, right? That is a organic manure. So the example is edible oil cakes. Edible oil cakes that can be eaten by the cattle. Non-edible is which is not eaten, right? So they are actually they are concentrated. See, these oil cakes actually are not soluble in water. They are made from oil seeds, right? But they give quick delivery of nutrition to the plants as soon as they are applied to the agricultural field. That is the oil cakes. Then bone meal. Bone meal means what? Fish bone and slaughterhouses. Kasai ka nahi the bones ella barutala. It has got lot of calcium and nutrition. That is also applied to the agricultural field, right? Bone meal. Then fish meal. Fish meal, you know, from the vanamino, dead fish, that is converted into manure. So I told you even the algae and seaweeds, sea grasses, acting as fertilizers, right? Okay. Then you have green manuring. Green manuring means adding green plants. Dead green plants you add, that is green manuring. So under it you have green leaf manuring, where you specifically add the leaves of the green plants. Then you have then one more manure is biofertilizers. What do you mean by biofertilizers? So biofertilizers, in these fertilizers there will be microorganisms present. So fertilizer combined with microorganisms. These microorganisms can help in nitrogen fixation or many other things. That is biofertilizers, right? So here these microorganisms, they help in releasing the fertilizers, the nutrition in the fertilizers quickly for the availability of plants, right? That is the concept of biofertilizers. Please remember biofertilizers andre microorganisms, right? Then nitrogen fixers. So what are the nitrogen fixers? Bacteria or organisms? You tell me. So there are two types. One is symbiotic and non-symbiotic. This question I saw it one of the UPSC exam, IAS exam. Symbiotic, everybody knows, rhizobium. Symbiotic andre it is there in the pulses, that is leguminous plant. It is helpful, mutually helpful. Non-symbiotic, which are the organisms? Please remember the bacteria in non-symbiotic is under aerobic criteria you have Azotobacter, Azomenos and Azospirillum. These are the bacteria, very important. Nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is aerobic bacteria, you have Azotobacter, Azomonas, Azospirillum. This was asked in one of the UPSC exams, right? Then anaerobic, two bacteria are there. Clostridium, Clostridium, Clostridium. Clostridium is one thing, and one more is chlorobium. That is the second bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, right? So then you have certain blue-green algae also, which are nitrogen fixers. So blue-green algae, I have told you what is blue-green algae. So what are the blue-green algae? Anabena, A-N-A-B-A-E-N-A, Anabena nosta, N-O-S-T-O-E, and Anabenopsis, Anabenopsis. Anabenopsis. Anabenopsis is the blue-green algae. So these are, so nitrogen fixing and the style there. Three blue-green algae, two anaerobic, two aerobic, one symbiotic. Totally how much? 9. So in 9 bitre, there is no possibility of question. So nitrogen fixing bacteria, if you by heart these 5 names, I mean 9 names, more than sufficient. Right? So then I'm going to talk about, now this is all about the manuring, the nitrogen fixers and everything. Now, a very interesting thing, weeds. What do you mean by weeds? Unwanted plants are called as weeds. So they harm the original plant. They are going to eat all the nutrients and consume all the water and harm the other plants, right? Surrounding plants, right? So what are the harmful effects? One is sunlight, water, nutrition, everything is taken away. Then it affects the quality of the crops. Quality of the crops is affected. Then it acts as a host to pests. And certain pests are going to, pests and insects are going to grow in these weeds, right? That is one thing. Then these certain weeds are going to cause allergy in humans. Parthenium. So if you touch the parthenium, there is possibility of you contacting allergy, Congress grass, right? Then weeds in the aquatic ecosystem, they obstruct the flow of water, right? They are going to make the water murky and dirty, right? So they reduce the land value. Certain weeds, they are going to convert the land into deserts, arid and semi-arid, desertification, right? So these are the harmful effects. There are certain beneficial effects also. So weeds actually bind the soil, right? Second is weed acts as a manure. Third, some weeds are consumable, human food, right? Then some weeds act as fodder for animals. Some weeds act as fuel, biofuel, right? And some weeds are also act as medicine, right? What are the weeds? So you have Pilantus neruri. This weed is used to treat jaundice. Pilantus neruri. Then Enclypta alba. This weed is used to treat scorpion sting. The scorpio bites you. This Enclypta alba is required. Then one more is Scintilla asiatica. Scintilla asiatica, also called as gotukola. This is used to reduce the stress and improve memory. So if you are facing a difficulty in memorizing, take one Scintilla asiatica. It is available in tablet, right? Scintilla asiatica, gotukola. Then Cynodon dactylon. It is used in treating asthma and piles. Then, so these are the medicinal properties. Then weeds also act as indicators. And a certain area, certain ecosystem is polluted, right? So weed act as a indicator. It indicates the condition of the soil. What is the condition of the soil, right? So it acts as an indicator, right? Then you have, so then we will talk about, this is all about the weeds. Next I am going to talk about the irrigation. So in irrigation you have micro irrigation and macro irrigation. Macro andre dams, canals, your groundwater, everything. Micro andre small scale irrigation. So low volume of water is applied at high pressure at frequent intervals, right? So here it leads to what? Reduced consumption of water. What are the types of micro irrigation? Drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation. I need not tell you what is sprinkler irrigation, what is drip irrigation. Drip irrigation, that water drips close to the root of plants so that entire water is consumed. So micro irrigation also prevents the
soil erosion. Soil erosion is prevented, right? Then you have, so prevention of soil erosion, terracing was also important. Terracing I have discussed in geography. Terracing or terrace growth of plants. Okay. Next, what is, so I told you about growing of crops. What is most important with respect to growing of crops? What do you need to grow a crop? Soil. So we will study the soil now. So soil, it is the topmost layer, thin layer. It includes three. It has got three components. One is the organic content. That is the first component. Second component is mineral content. Mineral content. And what is the third component? Third component is the water and air. Water and air present in the soil. These are the three components of soil. So soil, so I have discussed soil earlier. So what are the components of soil? So on what does the soil depend upon? Soil depends on the parent material, from which parent rock the weathering has happened and the soil is produced, right? So the soil depends on the parent material, that is one thing, and also it depends on the relief. So whether the soil is produced on the slope or plain area, right? Soil that on that also depends. Also depends on the climate, whether the soil is produced in the desert or rainforest. That also impacts the soil. Temperature, climate, temperature is part of that. Then living organisms, microorganisms, fungi, everything is going to impact the soil, right? Then topography, I told you, the relief of the area. The area topography also impacts the soil, right? Then you have, so what are the different types of soil? I have told you in earlier class. Clayey soil. Clayey soil, it is low permeable soil. It doesn't let the water to pass through, right? Then gravel. Gravel is coarse. It is made up of rock fragments, right? Then loamy soil. Loamy soil andre, I told you it is a mixture of sand, silt and clay, right? So it holds the water. It has good water holding capacity. Then sandy soil. Sandy soil, it is made up of sediments, right? Sediments of the rock, right? So then silt. Silt is, the size is between sand and clay. That is silt, right? Silty soil. They are very, very fine particles, right? So what is the, so this soil, actually it is differentiated into various horizons. So let us look at the diagram. Soil horizon or soil profile. Okay, this picture is clear. So these are the horizons in soil. So the entire thing is called as soil profile, right? Soil profile. So in this we will discuss each layer. So totally there are actually 5 layers. Here they have shown only 4 layers. Totally there are 5 to 6 layers which are important, which these are called as 5 master horizons. Master horizons. So what are the master horizons? O, A, E, B, C. Here they have not shown the E layer. I am going to discuss. So E layer is here between A and B. O, A, E, B, C are the layers of the soil. So what does O layer consist of? O layer consists of organic material. Just the organic material is present in the O layer. Then A layer. What does A layer consist of? It consists of minerals as well as organic matter. Both the things are present, right? Then you have E layer. Somewhere here you have the E layer. What is E layer? It is a subsurface layer. It is below the surface. So here what happens? It contains lot of nutrition. From the top layer, whatever the nutrition is there, that is saved in the E layer, right? So soluble nutrients are present there. Then you have B horizon. B horizontally. So here whatever the minerals that have leached from the above layer, that is saved in this layer. That is the B layer. Then you have C layer. What is C layer? Here there is mixture of parent rock as well as the soil. There is a intermediate condition, right? So it is least weather region. C layer is also called as saprolite. Please remember, C layer is called as saprolite. Okay. So then you have the R layer. Below this there is a R layer. It is actually the parent rock. Unweathered rock is called as R layer. So next I am going to talk about the various types of soil. Various types of soil. So first is saline soil. Saline soil which has got high salt content. It is saline soil. Then sodic soil. Sodic soil andre more sodium content. Soil which has more sodium content. It is called as sodic soil. Then acid soil. The soil whose pH is less than 6 is called as acid soil. Sandy soil. So where soil sand content is more, that is sandy soil. Then alkaline soil. Alkaline soil andre for the soil if the pH is above 8.5, that is called as alkaline soil. Then calcareous soil. Calcareous soil andre soil which has more calcium content, that is calcareous soil. So this calcareous soil forms conchar nodules. You will find conchar nodules in the calcareous soil. Then you have alphisols. Alphisols are, so these are soils with brown to grey color. So they are in grey to brown color. They are clay accumulation. The alphisol soils are actually made up of clay, right? So you will find this alphisol soil in forests and savanna regions, savanna grasslands. You are going to find this soil. Then the next type of soil is arid soil. Arid soil. So where the moisture content is very less, that is arid soil, right? So next is I am going to talk about with respect to soil certain things, and we will end up the class after that. So podzolization. What is podzolization? So it is actually the opposite of calcification. If the soil loses the calcium content, it is the podzolization. That type of soil is called as podzol or podzolic soil. The soil without the calcium content, right? So in this soil, the entire calcium is leached away from the soil, right? So when the soil becomes podzolized, actually when the calcium is removed, the soil becomes acidic because calcium is basic, calcium carbonate, basic, right? So when you remove the podzol, when you remove the calcium, it becomes acidic. The soil becomes acidic, right? Then you have laterization. What is laterization? Later, I told you later means brick. The soil getting so the soil from which the bricks are made are called as laterite soil. So the normal soil getting converted into laterite soil is called as laterization. So laterization, when does it happen? Andre, if you remove silica from the soil becomes infertile and it becomes a laterite soil. Then gleization, Gleization. Gleization. What do you mean by gleization? Gleization is in the wetland area. Soil formed in the wetland area, humid area or wetland area where there is present of both the soil as well as water together. That is gleization, right? So In this gleization, the soil has very less oxygen content, anaerobic condition. Why? Because it is filled with water, there is no oxygen available. Then salinization. Salinization andre soil, increasing salt content in the soil is salinization. So this you will find in the arid and semi-arid areas, right? So also this salinization can also be found by capillary action. I have told you, capillary action, the underground salt content comes to the surface. Example, green revolution areas, right? Then desalinization. Desalinization is removing excess salt from the soil, right? You add gypsum to the soil, it becomes desalinized, removing excess salt from the soil by leaching or any other way, that is desalinization. Then solonization or alkalization. Solonization, not salinization. Solonization is also called as alkalization. Here, accumulation of sodium ions in the soil is called as solonization or alkalization. Then solidization. Solonization and solidization. Solidization is the opposite of solonization or dealkalization. So if you remove the sodium from the soil, it is solidization. It is the opposition of solonization. Then desertification. Desertification andre good soil becoming infertile is called as desertification, right? So that is the vegetation is lost and the productive capacity of the soil is reduced. That is desertification. Then you have soil waterlogging. Waterlogging andre water getting accumulated because the bottom layer is impermeable. It is not allowing the water to seep into the ground. That is water logging, right? So in water logging, actually some plants will be killed because of water logging. So what should be the solution for water logging? Loamy soils. Loamy soils actually hold water, but water logging will not happen in loamy soil, right? So that is about the water logging. Now I am going to talk about soil erosion, right? So last concept for the day, soil erosion. There are many types. Splash erosion. What is splash erosion? If the raindrops splashes on the soil, soil particles will get splashed, right? So if you are walking in the rainy water, your pant and shoes will be splashed with mud, right? That is splash erosion, right? So next you have sheet erosion. Sheet erosion andre because of water, a thin layer of the soil is removed. Sheet erosion is witnessed in desert areas, right? Then you have rill erosion. Rill erosion, small passage of soil is eroded. That is rill erosion, right? So then you have gully erosion. The rills get expanded, right? Small passage becomes a big passage. That is gully erosion. Gully erosion, I showed you the diagram. Please remember during the geography, right? So this is all about the types of erosion. So certain concepts I am going to talk about before switching to the next topic. So that concepts we will talk in next class. Until then, please take good care of your health. If you have any doubts, please contact us on our Telegram channel, VHS Education Forum. Please make good use of the classes. We'll meet in the next class. Until then, Namaste, Jai Hind.